Very good morning to each and every one of you. Most venerable Bhante Rahula and venerable Sis and dear friends in the Dhamma. It is such a great pleasure for all of us to have this wonderful, very precious moment, opportunity in our life. And every year we would like to give you an opportunity to engage in a serious meditation practice and also learn from our experienced meditation master. So we have been teaching meditation through the year, but we want experience senior master at least once a year or a few times a year, so people can learn and go and clarify their issues and also get more encouragement and guidance for deepening our practice. So this year, our Bhante Rahula accepted our invitation. He came all the way to help us and guide us. So we are so grateful for his presence and for his guidance. And I also want to appreciate your commitment, giving your weekend and participating in this program. And also want to admire your commitment and dedication. It is not very easy for us to, you know, uh, put into this kind of discipline and practice, and I appreciate your commitment. And you will get more opportunities to listen to the Bhante and also ask questions. We also have a box over there in the registration table, a box with a label called questions, and then there's also piece of papers and the pens over there, so you can write any of your questions. You would like Bhante to answer in the afternoon. You can write your questions and put in that box, and you can also verbally ask the question during Q&A session. But if you like to put your questions clearly, and it will be helpful for Bhante to answer. So with that, we will start now. We will invite Bhante with deep respect and gratitude. Let us say sadhu 3 times to invite Bhante to conduct the retreat.
So welcome everybody to this day-long session. Let me see those hands of those who were not here last night. Okay, so just as a brief review, although last night I had mentioned that I hadn't been aware of a particular topic of this retreat, but then this morning I saw that there was a topic of this retreat being health and well-being through meditation and yoga practice. And so I wanted to talk about that connection between yoga and meditation. I think most people know about the benefits of meditation, but amongst Buddhists, yoga is not so well known, or especially amongst ethnic Buddhists in their country. But then Westerners, of course, are more familiar, I suppose, with the yoga and so on. But now, health and well-being, there's two levels of that. There's health and well-being of the body, and there's health and well-being of the mind. And in Western sort of science, they tend to treat them separately. The body is separately, talking about bodily health. Mental health is a separate thing. But in the Eastern tradition, the body and mind were never really separated. That they're a very integral or integrated organism. and the body affects the mind, and the mind affects the body. And the key to well-being and happiness is understanding the intimate relationship between the body and mind, and then effectively living our life, working toward balancing that and integrating those. And so that's really how the yoga and the meditation are used in that way. And although I shouldn't say yoga and meditation, because ultimately the word yoga, the original meaning was meditation. And but in the West, it's been the overemphasis on the bodily aspects of that are overemphasized. That meditation is kind of a sideline thing. But anyway, so because this morning session is only about 2 hours or so before we have to get ready for the lunchtime. We're going to spend that time in the practice. And last night we already did some practice, the yoga and the meditation. But let me first just repeat that, meditation really happens between the brain and the spinal column. When we talk about meditation, that means ability to become mindful of the present moment and to develop concentration in the present moment. And actually, the word meditation is very interesting. In an English word, it means, it's an English word, but it's spelled M-E-D-I. Why would they pick M-E-D-I for a word to mean meditation? And so what other words begin with M-E-D-I? Medicine, mediation. So all of these words, there could be a couple of others, but those primary ones signify something that's sitting in the middle. So medicine is a bridge between sickness and health, right? So you're sick, you take some medicine, you try to get healthy. And a mediator, what do? They sit between two arguing parties, right? And try to resolve their differences. In the media, what does it do? It tries to flesh out the truth between falsehoods and other opposing theories and so on. And so meditation, what does meditation sit in the middle between? Past and future. So the main feature of meditation, it's keeping our mind in the middle between the opposites. And the main opposites of our life are the mind being caught and always going back and forth between the past and the future, going back and forth between pleasure and pain, going back and forth between me and the others. So these are the three primary dualities that people are caught in, going back and forth, and they hardly ever find a balance in the middle. And those are called the opposites. And they're always kind of fighting against each other. And that's what produces ill health and all kinds of problems. But especially with the past and the future. Almost all the problems that you have are based on the past and the future. And the mind is constantly moving back and forth with worry, fear, anxiety, greed, aversion, hatred. And it's all basically dependent on our memories of the past, what our experiences with these objects were, and how we're projected into the future with desire and aversion. And that's what creates so much, stress and anxiety, fear, and the whole gamut of emotions. So the key in meditation practice is learning how to keep the mind in the present moment. When we say present moment, most people know nothing about the present moment. They think it's kind of present moment. Oh, just being here and now. Yeah, but what does that mean, being here and now? So anyway, that's what we're trying to discover, is how to bring the mind, get it back to be more grounded and centered in the present moment, which is the natural vibration of our consciousness, the vibration of the mind in the present moment. That's its natural vibration. And it's connected with the body. Now we'll talk more about that in the afternoon Dhamma talk. But so the starting point for any deeper meditation is learning how to bring the mind to get recentered and connected to the present moment. And we use the body for that. The Buddha used the body for that in his instructions on meditation, and the breathing in the body. But the body is always in the present moment. It's always just here, sitting, standing, walking, moving, whatever it's doing. As long as you're remembering that and kind of feeling it, then the mind is pretty much in the present moment when doing that. But most people's minds are not in the present moment. They're mostly in the future because of this fast-paced life and everything else. And everybody has busy schedules. And the moment they get up in the morning, oh, I have to do this and this and that, planning out the whole day. And so it's like their mind is a step ahead of their body. And that's the reason for almost every single accident is caused by the mind not being centered and grounded and relaxed in the present moment. So anyway, these are just some of the main ideas behind that, to regain what should be our natural health and well-being. In this short weekend retreat, I'm going to be giving some very basic aspects of learning how to do some develop rhythmic breathing or deeper, slower breathing, and coordinating that breathing with fairly simple stretching movements. And the purpose of that is because while doing that, it helps you to concentrate, and it's all about tuning into the present moment, feeling the incoming breath, the outgoing breath, feeling the sensations that are generated by the breathing, the peaceful kind of more mellow vibrations that are created through deep, slow breathing. And most people breathe very, very shallowly, only 1/10 of the lung capacity. And it's not enough to feed and energize all the cells of our body. And a lot of problems with our body are due to the body being half starved of oxygen. So they're only working on, kind of a half their required needs, as well as the body being stiff. And if the body's stiff, the joints are stiff, the life force, the oxygenated blood, as well as the prana, which is sort of imagine as just the electrical energy of the universe, it cannot flow freely because it gets impeded or slowed down because of the stiff, dense muscle tissue and stiff joints. And it's because the energy is not flowing freely through the body. Because of that, is most pains is due to the blocked energy, or the energy being blocked in different ways. It can be blocked by our mind being tense, as well as the body being tense and the muscles stiff. So this is all kind of just brief, the sort of the larger picture behind the physiology of the mind-body process. And to restore well-being is learning how to integrate, reintegrate all those aspects of the body and mind. So So we're going to be, before we get into meditation, or I shouldn't say before we, I regard the yoga practice as meditation, not something different. I know in the West they think it's different. They say, I'm doing yoga and then we meditate afterwards, but I don't like to make those kind of divisions. Because again, when you're doing the yoga, you're concentrating on the present moment and tuning into the sensations of that, and that's where meditation happens too. If you're familiar with the Buddhist practice of meditation, right? The Buddha starts with observing the breath and then going into the body and feeling the four elemental vibrations and so on. So it's it's meditation in itself. But it helps to prepare the mind and body for then sitting down. And then when you sit down in the meditation posture, you're already there, or at least most of the way there, and the mind doesn't have to struggle so much in trying to get it concentrated because you've done that through these types of like this. So does anybody have any questions to any of that? Yes.
What are the four elemental vibrations?
Using the common terminology, the earth, fire, water, and air, but that's confusing to people. But it's, our body is made up of billions of cells. Cells are made up of millions of molecules. Molecules are made up of atoms. Atoms are made up of electrons and other things. But so basically, this body is just electricity, basically. And when all those atoms, electrons, atoms, molecules, and cells get packed together, millions and billions in the size of a pea, then they produce something we call material matter. And it can be hardness, it can be fluid, heat, and motion. So just to keep it simple, it's those material vibrations, those four material vibrations are simply, to keep it simple, just see them as the vibration of the cells and molecules. But we identify them as being this part of my body, or either my tears or urine, anything of a fluid nature. We think, oh, that's, we get attached to that. Or movement is caused by the air element, and then the heat. There's heat in the body when you have a fever, or other digestion produces. The body maintains a 98-degree about the temperature, right? For functioning, and whenever they get that temperature either goes too high or too low, the problems arise. So these four elements are working in the body, but they're all material. Their nature is, it's just made up of electrons, molecules, atoms that manifest as these different elemental vibrations. Okay. But anyway, this is a part of the contemplation of the body as a way to kind of get a kind of a detached observing of the body. But we'll talk more about that later. Okay. So before we start the sitting part, as we did last night, go ahead and stand up now, and try to get at least a couple feet or so spread out, so you're not standing right next to somebody, because we need a little bit of room to move your arms. You kind of going to want to come forward a little bit, so people are not so cramped up back. So we're just gonna do some standing and do a little bit of deep breathing, and then combining that with these movements. So the whole point, the whole time, Just try to keep letting go of your thoughts and just thinking body, 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 or doing the breathing. And keep your chin at gut level with the floor. Relax your shoulders. Gently close your eyes. First of all, you'll feel your feet pressing the floor. Just direct your attention down. Feel where your feet press the floor. Feel that solid feeling. It's actually called the earth vibration. Vibration, something feeling hard, the pressure. Bring that attention come up. Feel your hands and fingers. And feel the subtle tingling, pulsation. Hands or fingers. Just remind yourself of standing and present moment of the body. Let the awareness kind of move further up. Feel your shoulders, relax the shoulders. Feel the clothing touching the skin of your chest, shoulder, and raw material vibration. Upwards, feel your head balanced on top, neck. Feel your face. Relax your face muscles. You'll feel the eyes and the socket. Just rest your attention on the eyes. Sort of kind of this gaze in through the eye. So you're looking at your eyeball from the inside. You settle your eyeball. And from that point down the eyes, you notice or feel the outline of the standing body. The general sense of the head on top, the arm to the side, clothing touching the skin, feet pressing the floor. Any or all of the sensations would make up the outline of the body. Just remember stand. And then begin some deep, slow breathing. And try to take 2 or 3 seconds to expand your abdomen, rib cage, and upper chest. And hold the air in the lungs for 2 seconds. And then slowly breathe out. Feel contraction of the out breath, the last bit of air going out of the lungs. And in breath. Take a few more deep, slow breaths like that. If you could hold that outline of the body in the mind's eye. Just develop this mindfulness. And breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, ending here and now. Breathing in, letting go of the past and future. Breathing out, ending here and now. Breathing in, letting feeling the whole body. Breathing out, feeling the whole body. You know, combine this breathing with these simple movements. You can open your eyes and observe as I lead you through it. Do the movement while breathing in, holding that position for 2 seconds while holding the breath in the lungs. On the out breath, returning to the starting point, or the opposite direction on the out breath. It may be difficult for some of you to coordinate all that. Good, good, good. For the next in breath, raise your arms over the head, interlock your fingers, turn the palms up, straighten your arms, stretch your head back to look at the back of your head. Stretch up. On the out breath, turn the palms down and touch the top of your head. The sensation generated while you're doing that. Again, in breath, palms up, straighten the arms. Lift the head back, bend back a little. The arch in the lower spine. Out breath, touch it up. Third time, hold the upward stretch longer. Stretch upward, back. Feel the sensation. You release the out breath, arms back to the side. Close your eyes. Relax. And try to feel your eyes. Feel the outline of the standing body. You can't feel that, at least feel your feet pressing the floor. Just remember standing, standing, standing. Letting your thoughts come and go at the back of the mind. Standing body in the front of the awareness. Feel the increased bodily sensations generated by the stretching of the breathing. The sensations are just vibration, cell, molecule, atom, electron. Now on the next 10 breath, lift up on your toes while raising the arms over the head in this way, facing the hands toward each other and stretch up. Out breath, come back down. Use the in breath to help lift up the body and blowing up the helium. Out. In. Out. And close the eyes. Feel the eyes. Socket. Feel the eyes. Body. And on top arm. The side of the feet pressing the floor. Slowly touching skin between. Remember stand. Stand. We'll do side bend. With an in breath, raise both arms up. Keep your fingers and arms straight, close to your head. On the out breath, bend over the right side as far as you comfortably can. Keep your arms parallel to each other like railroad tracks. In breath, lift up. Pause a moment. Next out breath, the other side. Stretch. Alternating sides, out breath. Once more to each side. And out breath, lower both eyes. Feel the sensation. Close the eyes. And feel the outline of the body. Increase heartbeat or pulsation. Noticing the itchy sensation, aches or pain. Touching the skin in different places. All those sensations are happening here and now. Caught up in thinking, just recognize thinking, go thought. You have some sensation, there's always some sensation in the body. Next, we're going to do a knee bending. You have painful knees, be careful. On the in-breath, lift up on the toes while raising the arms up in front. On the out-breath, bend the knees and lower down, balancing on the balls of the feet. Come all the way down, squatting position. And on an in-breath, feel the muscles of the legs pushing the body up. All the way up on the toes. Again, out breath. In. Out. In. Out breath. Close the eyes, feel heartbeat, rotation. The outline of the body. All those sensations occurring within the larger standing body. As the heartbeat slows back down, subtler pulsation. As you feel feel or imagine those life force vibrations, the healing